I know my history, and I see it appearing now. Stop and learn from history. I see people handing over their trust to leaders who promised order and getting chaos. I see people believing the rules would protect them, while the people who wrote the rules were the first ones breaking them. And I see the same play running right now that ran America into the ditch 100 years ago. Prohibition wasn't about alcohol, it was about what happens when you ban what people want, and the people who enforce the ban become the biggest suppliers in the game. Welcome back to the game film. I'm Ms. Peck. This is Know the Play, Run Yours, January 16th, 1920. The 18th Amendment goes into effect. Alcohol is now illegal in the United States of America. The intention was noble, at least on paper. Temperance movements had been pushing for decades. Domestic violence, public drunkenness, families ruined. Ban the bottle, fix the family. But here's what actually happened. Within 12 months, organized crime in America exploded. Not despite Prohibition, because of it. Al Capone, Chicago. By 1927, Capone was earning over $100 million a year. In 1927 dollars, that's about $1.8 billion in today's money. He controlled the mayor's office, the police department, the prosecutors, and half the city council. He had judges on payroll. He had federal agents looking the other way. And here's the thing the history books don't emphasize enough. Capone didn't create the corruption. He exploited a system that was already designed to fail. The government said, "Alcohol is illegal. We will enforce this." But enforcement required money, manpower, and political will. All three ran out fast. So what filled the gap? The people who had no problem operating outside the law. The gangs, the syndicates, the Capones. Within 5 years, the enforcers and the outlaws were the same people. The police chief who took Capone's money, the prosecutor who dropped the case, the senator who drank bootleg whiskey at a private club while voting for stricter enforcement. Prohibition didn't stop drinking. It stopped accountability. Game film, red pen, 3 steps. And if these look familiar, it's because you've seen them before. Step 1. Ban something people want. Alcohol, gambling, a particular book, a way of speaking, a political opinion. Doesn't matter what. What matters is that the demand doesn't disappear when you ban it. The demand goes underground. And underground means unregulated and profitable. Step 2. Enforce selectively. This is the teacher's eye right here. Capone didn't bribe everyone. He bribed the people who mattered, the cop on the beat who looked the other way, the judge who dismissed the case on a technicality, the politician who made sure Capone's rivals got raided while Capone's warehouses stayed quiet. Selective enforcement isn't broken law enforcement. It is the business model. Step 3. Become the supplier. This is the pivot. By 1928, it was impossible to tell where the Chicago outfit ended and the Chicago government began. Capone's lawyers wrote legislation. Capone's money-funded campaigns. Capone's enforcers doubled as political muscle. The government didn't defeat organized crime. It merged with it. Now watch me mark this. Create a black market. Control enforcement. Own both sides of the transaction. 100 years ago, same play. Here's where the teacher gets direct with you. Prohibition ended in 1933, but the play never ended. When you see lawmakers pass regulations that their biggest donors are exempt from, that's selective enforcement. When you see a politician campaign on draining the swamp while their cabinet appointees come directly from the industries they're supposed to regulate, that's step 3, owning both sides. And when you try to ask, wait, who benefits from this policy? And the answer is a maze of LLCs, dark money packs, and revolving door lobbyists. That's not government, that's the Chicago outfit in suits. Here's what I want you to see. The gangsters of 1929 needed guns and getaway cars. The gangsters of 2026 need bill language and regulatory carve-outs. Same play, better stationery. And the people who get hurt? Same people. You, your family, your community. The ones who follow the rules while the rule writers pocket the profits. Prohibition taught America a permanent lesson. When you ban what people want, you hand the market to criminals. When you enforce selectively, you hand the government to criminals. And when citizens stop paying attention, well, that's when the merger is complete. In Hero Thinking Booster for this episode, one tool, the most powerful one in the reading teacher's arsenal, the receipt trail. Capone was taken down by accountants, not by Eliot Ness and his untouchables. That's the movie version. The real story is that IRS agents followed the money. Capone couldn't explain where $100 million came from. The receipts buried him. Here's how you run the receipt trail on anything happening right now. 3 questions. 1. Who wrote this policy? And who paid for their last campaign? Follow the donor list, public records, open secrets. The money trail starts there. 2. Who benefits if this policy passes? And who loses? Don't listen to what they say the policy does. Look at what it actually does. Who gets the contract? Who gets the exemption? Who gets investigated? And who doesn't? 3. If everyone knew what I just found, would the policy survive? That's the sunlight test. Corruption dies in the light. If the answer is no, you've found something real. Capone went to prison because an accountant named Frank Wilson followed the receipts. You can do the same thing from your phone. It's not glamorous, but it's how democracies stay alive. Here's the exit. Prohibition ended because Americans finally saw what they'd built. Not a safer country, a corrupt one. And they voted to end it. The 21st Amendment, the only amendment that repeals another amendment, passed in 1933. The gangsters didn't disappear, but the black market did. When alcohol became legal and regulated, Capone's empire collapsed overnight. Not because he was arrested, though he was, but because the system that made him powerful no longer existed. That's the lesson. You don't defeat corruption by fighting criminals. You defeat it by changing the rules that make criminals possible. Check the receipts. Pick one policy, one law, one regulation. Follow the money from the bill to the beneficiary. If the answer isn't the public good, you know what you're looking at. Talk to your people, not to blame, to share. Say, I followed the money on this. Here's what I found. You want to look together? That's the move. Not debate, receipts, together. November 3rd, 2026. The receipt trail leads to the ballot box. This is the week you decide. Follow the money, check the receipts, exit the Capone play. Next time, the modern supply chain. When corruption goes global,